So students starting new session for JEE, and probably if you old students have a lot of questions regarding how to choose coaching. In this webinar, what we are trying to address is basically this basic question of how to choose a coaching institute. What should be the criteria behind it, and that we are going to discuss in detail. So I hope you all will benefit out of this. And I will try and answer all your questions. So if you have any questions in the middle, you can type it in the chat box. Once I've done, I will take all your questions. So I'm here till the time you require me. But we are going to be very detailed. We are going to start with the starting and we are going to complete everything in a lot of detail. So choosing the right coaching institute for JEE, secrets that we all will want to know. So these are the questions that will likely try and address. How to pick the best coaching institute for your JEE NEET preparation. What factors really matter when selecting a coaching program. Common mistakes parents make and how to avoid them. Questions you should ask before enrolling to any coaching institute. How to match coaching styles with learning needs. And tips for parents, what they should consider in terms of following up with this coaching programs. Now, my name is Shival Gathe. I'm one of the founders of Pragbi. I passed out from IIT Delhi, and after that, I have been continuously teaching for JEE for around 14 years now. I was also in top 100 ranks in terms of my math score when I wrote my JEE Advanced exam. So this puts me in the right situation to answer all of these questions because I myself did 2 or 3 coachings before when I was preparing for JEE, and then I went to Kota also. So I have a lot of exposure. I have taught in Delhi in major coaching institutes. So I have got a fair amount of exposure to talk about all of these things. And now from the last 5 years, we are working on Pragbi. So that experience in online learning is also coming along with that. So this puts me in a wide spectrum of things that you will want to know question. Now, what is the best in all of these areas? Now, this is the results of our students from the Pragbi from the last few years. For 2024, this year also we have 5 students in 99 percentile, and JEE Advanced exam has yet to happen on 80. So we'll be able to understand what students went where after that. But we have been able to produce very good result in the last 4 or 5 years. But on to that later. First, let us start with how to pick the best coaching center for your JEE NEET preparation. Let us try and answer this question. Now, before answering this question, the question that everybody should ask is, what is expected from a JEE NEET aspirant and what is the help they actually require in terms of their preparation? So see, when you're looking into all of these exams, fundamentally what you will want to become is a problem solver. Because exam, if you put it very simply, is solving certain amount of question in certain amount of time. So essentially, what we are looking into is developing certain kind of expertise in doing so. And hence, becoming a problem solver is of prime importance if I want to crack any of this exam. If I look into JEE means, there are 75 questions to be answered in 3 hours. If I look into NEET, there are much more questions to be answered in 3 hours. If I look into advanced, there is a 6-hour exam in which there are 2 papers of 3 hours each, where you will solve approximately 60 questions. So fundamentally, everywhere you go, it is about solving problems only in the exam hall. So if you want to clear this exam, what any student will want to become is a problem solver. And if you want to become one, and I'm very sure that all of you have come here, definitely want themselves or their wards to become a very good problem solver and crack these exams. So what you will want to do? So ultimately, what you will want is, in very simple terms, a concept clarity. That would mean all the definitions and derivation should be clear. So if I take an example of trigonometry, I should know what is trigonometry, why do we require trigonometry? Because knowing what will give me clarity, knowing why will give me a lot of interest in the subject. I should also clearly understand that what are the standard applications. These are the 10-15 ways we can apply this concept. Okay? And then most of my time should go into practice. This is the most important thing. See, if I want to become a good painter, I will want to spend most of time painting things. If I want to become a good dancer, I will spend most of my time dancing. And if I want to become a good athlete, it is going to be in the similar manner. Now, here what we are doing is basically, if you want to become a problem solver, now that is the criteria behind clearing all of this exam. What you will want to do is spend most of your time in doing practice. Now, how much of time? And that will get into a little bit later. But now these things can be done by you also. Why do you require a coaching institute? Because every year, and in fact, when I went to IIT Delhi, there were few students there, they did not do any kind of coaching also. So now, since there is so much emphasis on coaching everywhere, you should also ask this question that, do we really require them? what is the purpose that they are going to serve in this journey. So if I look into this, the question that we'll want to answer is what exactly the coaching is doing. So what I talked about earlier, what, why, and how. The coaching will help you get there faster and with more clarity. That would mean you will understand the concept very clearly. Ideally speaking, you should also develop some interest in doing so that this journey might be a 1 year, 2 year journey, should be able to sustain your interest in doing so. And you should clearly understand how to solve problems, because that is of primary importance if you want to clear any of these exams. So coachings largely will play this role, that they will give you these three elements, what, why, and how, very clear. Now, which coaching to choose? This is the question that is in the mind of a lot of students. In fact, I put a small short on the YouTube and I saw that there were 1600 students something were interested in understanding basically which coaching institute to choose. Now, one model that has been very common and very persistent in front of us is an offline coaching institute. Now, let us understand how it works and what purpose it serves. I am not here to criticize anybody. I'm just going to tell you pro and cons. And then you can make your decision based on those pro and cons. So see, the first option, in this option, an offline coaching institute, this is how it works. Their idea is to produce top rankers in India, and that is what they put in their marketing material also. So they are being very open about it. They are here to produce All India Ranks 1. For that, I'm going to take all your questions in the end. And so don't worry. Please, if you have something very urgent, put it in the chat box. I will do it along with it. Otherwise, I will take it towards the end. And do not need to worry about. Yeah. See, now, how does an offline coaching institute works? The idea is there, you are going to be put into a batch. The idea would be, there would be tremendous amount of stress to perform in that batch. Since everybody will want to be in the top batch, and top batch students are going to get all kinds of facility in terms of best teachers, etc. So what you will want ultimately is basically to be in the top batch. And hence, there is a lot of stress to be in the top batch. There will be multiple tests happening to filter out students to be in the top batch. From that top batch, ranks will come, and you can see that their selection ratio would be somewhere around 2%. So if you take most of the exams that you are writing, selection ratio is around 1%. If you go to a coaching institute, like an offline coaching institute, it becomes 2%. So one way to look into that is my chances are getting doubled. Another way to look into it is 98% students won't be able to make it, because their logic is not to get maximum people through. Their logic is very simple. They are putting stress to develop All India Ranks 1. And since most of the people think that I am going to be All India Rank 1, it becomes a criteria to get admission into an offline coaching institute. Now, having said that, these are the pros. The pro is that there are big trusted players. There is Alan, there is Akash, there are multiple institutes. There is an offline environment to study there. So you will leave your home, you will go there to study. Usually this will give you a dummy school option also, and we'll see why dummy schools are important or not important and what are the pros and cons. And usually these coaching institutes would be costly depending on what kind of batch and what kind of facilities you are getting there. Cons are basically the batch size, again the same thing. The batch size are sometimes extremely large. Like if you go to Kota, it is 150 to 200 students. If you go to any city, it can be in the range of 50 to 100 students. Classes are usually less interactive because a teacher can't be expected that in a 1 hour 30 minutes class, 90 minutes class, he can interact with all 90 or 100 students that are sitting in the class. The quality of teaching has less control. So I'm not going to say that it is good, bad, or ugly. I'm going to say that it is less controlled environment. The reason is that the teaching that is happening in the classes is not getting recorded. So anything that has no evidence to it or no data behind it largely will depend on 1 or 2 checkpoints, like a feedback form that would be sent once in a month or once in a quarter. And then there is very less intensive to work around it, because the reason is that the idea is to get the students in the top batches and work on those students. So teaching quality for most of the batches, if you look into, would not be that quality controlled. Top batches would be very quality controlled. There is a lot of stress in this institute because they are designed to be a pressure cooker. The idea is that you will want to be in the top batches and you're continuously trying to get there. Hence, there is a stress to perform. Obviously, and if you are in the city also, you will have to spend some time to travel to this institute, so that time will go into traveling. And there are choke points. So what are choke points? We'll see as we move forward. But these are the pros and cons of going to an offline coaching institute. Now there is option, this option largely works in south of India below Maharashtra. A lot is basically there is a concept of school integrated program. Now it is coming to Bangalore and there have been some programs in north side of India also. The idea is basically you're getting coaching in a school environment. So ultimately your three teachers in the school who used to teach you physics, chemistry, mathematics or bio are now also your coaching teachers basically. So in the school hours you are taught for both the things, the school as well as the coaching part. What is the pro? Again, there are few big trusted players in the south of India. North of India, you won't find any good school integrated programs running. Offline environment to a certain extent is there because you are going to the school. But since you go to the school, your orientation that you are going to a coaching is less. It is more like school that you are going. So focus is still more on school. Some in the north of India, it is lot on school. In the south of India, it is more towards the coaching part. The batch sizes are relatively moderate. So if I'm looking into 100 batch size in an offline coaching institute or 70, here the batch size is going to be, let us say 40 or 50 students. So it is better in that aspect. Again, it is costly because you are paying for both for the school as well as for the coaching at the same time. So this is a model that is slightly on a costlier side. Again, since the batch size will go smaller in any kind of an offline coaching institute, the quality of teachers will go down because you need to maintain a team of teachers for a center. So if there are more students in a center, you can spend more money in hiring better teachers. If number of students are lesser, until unless the coaching is looking into doing an investment of running in some kind of a loss in initial few years, the quality of teachers can't be very high. The reliability, again, in the south of India, it has been better and they have been able to generate consistent results using this kind of program. But in the north of India, it is not very reliable, largely speaking. All other things are same, like the same kind of stress that you feel here and there, both would be there. Travel time would be there because you will travel to your school, etc. So those kinds of factors will again come into picture. One thing that would be differentiating factor between both of these models, the first and the second one, would be that amount of travel time. Amount of competition. So in offline coaching institute, you are competing with a lot more students compared to basically in a school environment. So that is there. The quality of teaching again would be better in an offline coaching institute compared to SIP in general. And then again, what we can say is basically the environment is largely of a school. So that also is sometimes good and sometimes again depends on where you are and what kind of program you're opting for. Now, there are also this online coaching institute that have come up after Corona and has become a big trend now. One of the major pros of these ideas, basically, these are cheaper in terms of acquiring, like amount of money that you're spending is usually less than an offline coaching institute. Depending upon where and what you're opting, it could be significantly less. Like if you're going for a recorded class, kind of a class, it will become very less, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 rupees, you can do a program. Class recordings are available. So if you want to go back to the class recordings and see, so this facility is available here. That largely is not there in an offline coaching institute. Data orientation is more. So you will get a lot of data getting generated because everything is getting monitored, everything is getting recorded. So whether you're writing a test, assignment, lots of data is getting generated, and you can also sit and understand those data and what the data is saying. A lot of time saving also happens because you're not traveling here and there. So it saves a lot of time in doing so. Con is that the con that was there in all offline coaching institute, the batch size is really big. And since it is online, it becomes a little bit less interactive because now in a batch, you have thousands of students, sometimes hundreds of students, no one can keep a tab, largely speaking. So the batch size sometimes will become big enough. So they will have concept of one master teacher, some other teacher to take the doubts. And it becomes very less interactive. Most of the times, the faculty will have zero idea what kind of student they are teaching and what are their requirements, etc. It becomes a very generalized program. Stress is again there because again, they will want to select few students, provide them one-to-one classes on small group, and then improve those students. This idea is also used in offline institutes. If you're in a topper in an offline institute, faculties will sit with you one-on-one and help you out in a lot of ways that otherwise they will not help you. They will make a small batch of you also, and like-minded students which are highly motivated, and work on them to get special kind of results. So this one-on-one is working in both the places to generate result, but largely most of the students will not have this facility. Again, there is stress to perform and monitoring in certain ways. Since the environment is not very controlled in an online coaching institute, it goes down. So this has been a consistent problem, particularly pointed by a lot of people who are teaching online coachings. Now, this is a new model that PRACB has evolved. It is a personalized online coaching. What happens here is the batch size is small. So you have, let us say, 5 to 15 students in a batch, or you can have a batch of 1 student also. There is class to class monitoring happening because the batch size has become low. So ideally speaking, if we do an offline model of this, it will also work even better than this. But this also works largely better compared to other models because number of students in a batch are less. So you can monitor them more. You can have a lot of quality control. What are all the goods of an online coaching? A lot of data, a lot of quality control in homework, testing. You can do all of those things. The multiple price options can be done based on basically what kind of batch you're opting for. And the class recordings, all of those things are there. But it also becomes highly interactive because number of students become less. And the only con to this idea is there is again not an offline environment. So let us say that if I'm attending my class from my drawing room, and after that, most of the things I do not want to do, again, those things can be very difficult to manage. But if you can have a room where you can systematically, dedicatedly study, this model can work like wonders because it has all the pros of a good offline and online coaching program and none of the cons. Basically, largely see that because the batch sizes became really small. So this is how PRACB works. I'm not going to go in great detail in how PRACB works because that is not the topic of discussion today. But still, I will cover it briefly. So we believe in the idea of result for every student. And that is the reason there is idea of personalized class that happens because the batch size is small. We can understand the requirements of the students and we can deliver accordingly. There is a class to class feedback going to the parents on their WhatsApp that what happened in today's class, did the student come prepared, etc. So a lot of monitoring compared to other online institutes. There is standardized homework given after every class, and that gets the data of that gets recorded in the system, and the feedback is again pushed to you. There is regular PTMs, intervention from the side of faculties in terms of mentorship sessions, monthly reports getting sent to the parents. So it becomes a more result-oriented program. That is the pro of this program. So it becomes a very good online option to any kind of offline program that you're doing with none of the cons of an offline program. Now, what are the factors that really matter when you're selecting a coaching program? Now, this is very important to understand. So let us understand the first thing that will help us decide this, that is goal setting. Now, first thing that every parent or student that is preparing for the exam should understand that what is my goal. So I have seen students doing this that, sir, my goal is to get into top 10 ranks in JEE Advanced. Now they are saying this, but do they actually mean it? And that is the question that the parents and the students both should need to understand and answer. Because if you're very clear what we want to get out of this whole process that we are going to undergo for 2 years, the life will become that much easier. So the goal should be set based on time commitment that is there. And then planning should be accordingly. I will explain what I mean by time commitment and plan accordingly. So understand that if my goal is JEE mains, you can also write NEET here, largely would mean the same thing. I'm taking an example to make you understand. So if my goal is JEE mains, that would mean at my D day, I will have to solve 75 questions in my exam hall. That would mean if I want to do this nicely, I should at least do 75 questions practice daily. So apart from my coaching that I'm doing, I should do this much questions on a daily basis. That would mean for a student that is learning something, he can't do or she can't do more than 15 questions in an hour. Will mean I will have to commit at least 5 to 6 hours in terms of practice. 2 hours of classes. If you're coming to PRACB, if you're going for some other program, then 3 or 4 hours of classes. So that would mean I'm talking in context of PRACB. So I will put 7 to 8 hours of daily time commitment that would be required to reach or crack this goal. If I do not have 7 to 8 hours on a daily basis to be given to JEE mains, then doing any of the coachings will not help me because I do not have the amount of time that is required to do the practice. If I take out the coaching time, I will at least require 5 hours on a daily basis if I want to crack JEE mains in terms of practice. If I'm not doing this, nothing else is going to work. And as simple as that. Now let us say that my goal is JEE Advanced. Then that would mean 120 questions because JEE Advanced paper will have 60 plus 60 in paper 1 and paper 2. That will become 120 questions. You will have to practice at least 120 questions if I'm preparing for this exam. I'm not saying the first day onwards, I'm saying eventually, like let us say 1 or 2 months down the line. 15 questions again per hour if I catch, then it will become 8 hours of self-study in terms of problem solving. 2 hours of classes, that would mean 10 hours. So you can look into the whole idea as if I'm preparing for advance, I will have to spend 10 to 12 hours into it. 10 hours is the minimum. And if I just look into the practice part, it is 8 hours of practice. The students who are able to get to IITs are those students who do 8 hours of practice daily. There is no magic portion to it. If you can do this on consistently on a daily basis and practice this much questions, you are going to reach there. There is no rocket science to it. Because now there are 17,000 students cracking IIT every year. And I'm talking about IITs. If you look into mains, there are at least 50 to 60,000 very good seats in mains also. And let us say that 30,000 are most desirable out of that. So it is not that we are making an 11 people cricket team. If you do these kind of things, you are definitely going to end up there. Now, let us say that I don't have that kind of time. Then I should change my goal to, let us say, bit set, which will require 3 to 4 hours of practice. You can see that, and 4 to 5 hours of commitment on a daily basis. So see, my whole idea is basically, if I can't commit this much of time, it would be largely very difficult for me to crack any of these exams. And so then I should tread with caution, like how am I able to figure out this time? So goal setting should be done based on what time is available to me, what is my interest. Now, advanced will also involve difficult questions. So if I am not very interested in struggling with difficult questions, there is no fun in doing it also. So this is the first thing that we should figure out. Now, second thing that you need to understand is the JEE calendar, because this most of the people who start their preparation don't understand. Understand like this, that your coaching starts in February, March, April. Then most of the times the syllabus of class 11 would be done by December, January. And your class 12 syllabus would be done by October next year. This is the deadline that most of the people follow. Then the revision and mock test will start in November and December. Then you can see that means first attempt. So JEE is held in 2 attempts. Attempt 1 in January and the second attempt would be done in April. So you can see that between that there is a board exam in between. So the time you are done with your first attempt, the board exams happens in February, March. And then again, you will have mains attempt 2. And then after that, you will have after a month JEE advanced also. So you can see that this is a cycle of JEE. So we need to understand and think in context of this cycle. Now, what are the key choke points? So we talked about choke points. So now we will look into these ideas that what do we mean by that? You can see that the main problem that the students face, these are the 4 main problems. One is that when they are doing coaching, there is no sync between school and coaching. So different topics might be going on. So at a time, I might be doing 6, 7, 8 topics sometimes, maximum. Sometimes it would be 3 only. It will match. This would mean different kinds of test syllabus for both the kinds of preparation, school and JEE. So students usually are torn between the school and the coachings. This is one thing that happens. Second is daily time required versus available. So if I'm going to a A+ quality school and the best of the schools like IB curriculum, ICSC top schools, they will want me to be in the school daily. That would essentially mean if I catch everything, it will consume minimum 8 to 10 hours. Assuming that every productive person cannot work more than 12 hours a day, and this is also I'm stretching a little bit. Usually they can't work more than 10 hours a day. Then it leaves very time for me to do those practice hours, 4, 5, 3, depending on my goal. I can't do. And then if I am not doing those things, I will be left behind in my preparation journey, and then I will lose motivation. Another thing is consistency. So what will happen is you will have one exam here, one exam there, one exam here, school, coaching, and then you will have to consistently jump between both the ideas. This will lead to breaks in consistency, and again, you will suffer because of loss of consistency. Now, let us take the most critical thing. And even if you're able to clear all of this, one major problem still remains. The problem that happens in November, December, January, February. This problem is very peculiar. I've seen students suffering a lot because of this. What is happening is you have pre-boards and practical exams in school in November and December when you are doing your revision for your JEE means 1 attempt. And then you have board exams in February also. You can see that a lot of overlapping of exams is happening in a very brief amount of time. Students sometimes, if they are not well prepared for whatever preparation they have targeted, along with that, the school preparation, that will leave them in a very difficult situation where they will find it very difficult to manage a lot of things happening at that point of time. You can see that these are the key choke points. So when I talked about choke points earlier, these are the things that we need to play along with. We understand that these things are going to come. These are the part of the journey. So this will also raise a question that what kind of school should I choose then along with this? So offline schools with strict attendances will largely leave you no amount of time to do anything. If you can get a little bit of flexible school like I did with my JEE preparation, it largely helps, where I was going school 25, 30, 40% of the time. Rest of the days I did not went. But still the load of assignments, exams and choke points would still be there. I should be able to reconcile with them in certain ways. or I should go for a dummy school. Now there is a problem here is that they take care of all the things, but exams you will have to go and write, and towards the end, whatever the board related things are there, that you will have to do. But the good thing is there, most of the time of the year, you can manage your time really well. Problem is that there is a crackdown on this. So now what I am recommending to most of the students is go for, if you are very serious of clearing JEE Advanced and you know that this is something that you want to do, go for some kind of an open schooling. Like CBSE is a board in India, NIUS is another board that you can opt for. There is no pressure of attendance. There are certain assignments that are very simple and can be submitted in March only. And then their test happens in April. So you can see that largely it becomes very congestion free. You can focus on your competitive exam. If you have figured it out, this is what you want to do, then this is the best option that is there. The second best option, if you look into this, would be nothing but the dummy school. And if you can do that, but there is a lot of crackdown, so you might be in a very difficult situation. Things that did not turn out the way you wanted them to be. The worst that you can do is go for a flexi school. And the choke points and lot of school pressures would still be there. So it will destroy 3 to 4 months before the exam. But till that point of time, you will be able to largely manage things. Not an ideal scenario, but like one of the worst scenarios. Worst of the best scenarios. Now, what is the minimum acceptable outcome for JEE Mains and Advanced? This is also let us understand. So let us understand a lot of data that I have put here. So 2024, and this data is yet to come for 2025. So I will not talk about 2025. I'm talking about 2024 only. You can see that across different attempts that are there in the first part, there are different percentiles at different marks. If you want this data, do let me know. Put your phone number in the chat box. I will send you all of these things that we are discussing today, so that you can also sit at the peace of your mind and go through it. A lot of these. An important thing to understand is this table here. If you want to be in top 1.7 thousand rank, that would mean 99 percentile. This is what it means. And then another important mark is 99 percentile around 16,000 rank. Another important mark is this 95 percentile around 70,000 rank. Why is this so important? Because corresponding to this, you can get into certain colleges, into certain kind of branches. Again, the data is available here. I will put a conclusion in front of you. So to conclude, in order to get 99.9 percentile, you will require 250 plus marks out of 300. This will open all the options across all the branches and colleges that you can opt for. So if I want to go into, let us say, NIT Trichy with computer science, this can offer me that option. If I am 190 plus, that out of 300, that would be slightly more than 60%. That would mean 99 percentile. That would mean I could choose college or branch, but I won't be able to choose both. So I can get computer science in certain colleges, but I can't choose it in my dream college. 95 percentile would mean 130 plus marks. That would mean in my home state quota, I can get into NIT. So if I want to be called an NITian, because this is for JEE Mains, the maximum that you can get into is NIT, triple IT. Then this is the minimum that I will want to have. That is 130 plus marks. That is slightly more than 40%. Okay. Now, what about JEE Advanced? So if you want to get into JEE Advanced, if you want to just get qualified, and this is average for last 5 years. So last year it was slightly more. This year it might be slightly less. It would change from year to year, but this is an average or statistical picture. If I want to just get qualified and get some IIT, I want 35% marks. If I get 40, I will get into top 10,000 ranks. I will have many options in IITs. 50% marks will mean 50% mark, 5,000 rank. This is for last year. So I have, usually it is 5% less than this only. So what you can understand from all of this discussion is, I will want to get at least 65% marks in JEE Advanced. And similarly in JEE Mains to have a lot of options in life. As simple as that. Okay. So now why I told you all of this, because there are some common mistakes that parents make and they need to avoid these mistakes when they are choosing coaching institutes and preparing further on. Okay. So now you should understand that when you're picking a coaching institute, you can't do it without setting some smart goals. If you do it without that, then the coaching will have different goal into mind. You will have different goals into mind, and then both of those things will not match. So what is the worst kind of thing that you can do is follow All India Ranks 1's advice, because that is not the right kind of advice for all of us. Because the kind of intellect that the guy has got, the kind of way he was given cooperation from his coaching institutes, and the kind of things he did in his preparation, largely speaking, for 99.999 people, this is not going to be the condition that is going to be followed. So watching his interview is not going to help you. What you need to start doing is set some smart goal. That would mean, what is the specific outcome that you're looking out of the exam? Is NIT computer science a good option for me? Or let us say that getting into JEE advanced computer science is a good option for me. That I need to understand. I also need to understand that how am I going to measure my progress? So are the coaching results going to be important for me? Then how much of importance will they play, and what is the number that I'm looking into? This is the consistent performance I need to make in order to achieve my goal. Is that goal attainable for me? That would mean, do I have the kind of intellect that is required to get into that place? So let us say that I'm thinking of All India Rank 1, but probably I do not have that kind of intellect. So probably putting my efforts into bit set would be a better option, because simpler question, more basically practice driven, and rank very high, like between IITs and NITs. So this you need to understand. Second is relevant. So whatever I am trying to achieve, is this relevant for me as a student? So student after doing 6 months of preparation will say that, sir मुझे तो गिटार बजाना था. नहीं, आपको गिटार बजाना था बेसिकली, या आपको स्पोर्ट्स करना था, तो आप जेई की प्रिपरेशन क्यों कर रहे हो? Or if you're doing, you should understand that what is the relevancy of that. I want to get into a decent enough college. Fair enough. You can do some preparation, you can get into a good college. I do not want to get into IITs. That is also fair enough. But at least you should realize it. Not your teacher should realize it. You should realize it. Your parents should realize it. What exactly are you preparing for? How am I going to allot my time corresponding to it? So in a day, how much time do I have? If I have 5 hours in total, my goal cannot be more than JEE Mains. As simple as that. Or bit set probably. And I can't prepare for JEE Advanced because I don't have that kind of time liberty to do it. Then I should think that probably this year I will do JEE Mains, I will take a drop, prepare for JEE Advanced, or some other plan I should think about if I want to get into JEE Advanced. So this you need to understand very clearly, that what is my SMART goal, what I am trying to do. Now corresponding to that, basically, that these are the questions you should ask before enrolling. You can see that 2 things I told you. So once you understand this, based on that, now you will think that, okay, which kind of system is important to me? So my value system, where I want to go, and the coaching's value system should add up. So if the coaching is trying for All India Rank 1 and I am trying to get into decent enough college, my value system is not matching up, and then I will feel stress in the system. Then I'm going to do random things that are not required, and then people start from preparation of JEE and then they end up doing something else. Okay, so this is happening. The goal of the coaching and your goal should resonate with each other. This is very important. Second thing is, like in PragB, we have, and this is an example I'm taking of PragB, you can replace it with something else also. PragB's goal is basically result for every student. So then we will work according to your goal. And if your goal is very specific, that can't be taken care in a batch, will recommend you one-to-one classes. And that too very less, because your goal does not require that much amount of teaching or coaching. And you do not need to do that kind of practice that usually a JEE Advanced student will do. So you need to figure out what you want to do. Take coaching accordingly. Don't go with then the top institutes going for All India Rank 1, because you are going to torture yourself. Nothing else. And this is very critical. Now, once you've done that, you need to understand basically how the classes, what purpose the classes. This is another thing that you need to understand before enrolling. That who are the faculties that are going to teach me? How are they going to teach? What is the methodology that they are going to use? Secondly, how will they interact with the students in the classes? So if I'm going for an online coaching that is only charging me 10,000 rupees fees, largely speaking, I can only interact with them in a class where my camera would be off, through a chat box, that by the time I write my question, they will move on to the next concept. So this I should be okay with, and before I'm opting that option. I'm not saying it is good, bad, ugly. I'm saying that they're offering something at a price point, and that would make sense in their context. Is it feasible to interact in the class? I think the classes that are less interactive, largely speaking, will become very difficult for a student to stick with in the long. They will lose concentration after 5-10 minutes. How will you get class to class feedback? So this is important for parents and students both. How was today's class? Because if my basic unit of class is not working out for me, my coaching largely will never work out for me. So every class should be a successful class. That would mean I should understand the concept, I should understand the application. If these things are not happening, then largely it is not working for me. Now, this is what we do. This is again an example for you to understand. And this is the same questions you can ask before every coaching institute. So when we teach in PragB, it is discussion-based class. A lot of question and answer happens in the classes because we are trying to understand what the student is thinking. If there is 1:1 batch also, micro batch also, so discussion happen accordingly. If my goal is very specific, I will go for a 1:1 batch. I can, if it is fine, micro batches will work for most of the students. Like if there are 5-10 students in my class, I don't worry. I can easily interact with the faculty. And we follow problem type approach. So after dealing with concept, we'll 10 to 10-15 standard applications. And these are how it is going to be applied. There I have heard about coaching institute who just will keep on teaching theory to students. They will not talk about problems. They will not talk about problems in a very categorized manner. Daily feedback reaches to parents. So parents, after happening the test, if they get a feedback, largely it is not useful because then the topic is gone. If you get a class to class feedback, then you can probably poke the students, teachers can poke the students, parents can also poke students can also understand, they can become a little bit more aware and work towards it. Next is basically how the homework is going to happen, how it will be assigned, how it will be checked. See, checking is important because we are dealing with students who have just came out of class 10th. They are not very mature. So assuming that all of a sudden they are going to behave very maturely, and that's a very, like, not a very good assumption to make. So checking should be there for the homework. How it will be discussed in the class. So some discussion is happening in the class regarding homework or not. How will you get to know about it? Like if my student or my ward did not do homework, am I aware regarding it or not? Because if it is too late, again, you have lost the opportunity to act. And the golden hours where you can make it right is gone now. Probably today, if I did not do the homework, if it happens by the next class, it is fine. You will be able to cover things up. But if it is lost today and tomorrow and a week, and after that I'm getting a feedback after a month, it is not going to work out for me. This is what we follow in Pragby. Again, an example. We have an LPP for every class where we assign you 25 questions. You have 1 hour to solve that. So time-based assignment is given to you. It gets discussed in the next class. Feedback goes to the parent. There is an offline material also, because if you do not want to strain your eyes, you get the same thing in hard copy. There are different kinds of questions at different level: board level, state level, mains level, advanced level. Again, discussion of everything happens in the class. So you do not have to wait on a doubt corner to ask things. Okay, and after the next topic is done, we usually do this discussion. You can see that there is a homework system into place. Now there needs to be a test system into place. That would mean, what is the frequency of the test? Is a monthly test, once in 15 days, once in 3 weeks, once in a month? What is the frequency of test? How the test is going to be discussed, and how will you get to know about it? Like how much I perform, am I on the right lines or not? What I need to do better? What kind of analysis is given to me? In terms that, okay, these are my marks. This could be one analysis. These many questions were right, wrong. This is one analysis. What are my strengths and weaknesses? How am I going to improve this test by the next score by the next test? If I do not get to know this, largely speaking, the same test scores will repeat, and then you will hover around the same score after a certain point of time, because you have exhausted your potential and you do not know how to increase it. Now, again, this is a system that you also will follow for revision and mock. So once you have done your syllabus, then there is a system of revision that should be there. There should be a system of mock test. So you should clearly understand that what is the deliverable, when the syllabus is going to be completed. I have seen that if you are not able to complete your syllabus 2-3 months before the exam, then you can't do revision and you can't do mock testing. And if that does not happen, largely you are not going to get any result. Okay, so again, you need to understand this very deeply. How many mock tests, when, what kind of revision, when. And this should be very clear, because I have seen that a lot of offline institute with big names also will not be able to do great justice to a lot of students in this regard. Probably the top batch, yes. For other batches, they don't do this. Now, this is the system of, again, testing and revision and mock test that we follow at Pragby. Every week there is a test. Discussion happens in the class. Scores are sent to the parent. They also get a projected percentile, that if same kind of score I get at a national level, what would be my percentile or my rank. Revision happens after October. Syllabus is divided into 8 blocks. Every day there is a class to revise this syllabus. There are DPPs, there are videos, solutions, as well as discussion of those DPPs in the class. Mock tests are done after every topic, also after syllabus completion also. So this is the system into place that I'm talking about. Once you have done this, another last thing, and this is the most critical according to me, is mentorship system. See, nobody is perfect. You are also not perfect, and you are also going to lose your way. You need to understand that, is there a mentor for me in the system or not? This is very critical. So what kind of mentorship would be available? Who is going to mentor me? Is that the counselor kind of a person or a faculty who has himself cleared the exam? How will you as a student be in touch with the mentor? So can I ask for a mentorship session to the mentor, and will he be able to give it to me in the kind of system it is designed for? What exactly will be covered in those mentorship systems? Will there be PTMs, so that as parents also we can meet the teachers and And because this is a major problem, and like if you go to a quota kind of a system, there are no PTMs. There are largely group mentorship sessions where somebody like Chetan Bhagat will come and do some mentorship. But see, that is not what I want. What I want is basically you tell me what I can do in order to improve myself. So that is should be very individual. Like this is how Pragby does it. So we have an upskill system where we teach a student how to set goals, how to do classes, practice, testing, time management. There are regular interventions from the side of faculties as one-on-one sessions where we sit one-on-one and we'll tell them what to do based on their own circumstances. Kind of backlogs they are able to develop because of XY things that they do. There is one-to-one PTM that is happening with the students on a on-demand basis, on a monthly basis also. And this is all getting done by senior most faculties. These are not counselor people who are doing it. You need to ask these questions. Now, how to match your coaching style with your learning needs? Now, this is very important. So you need to understand that what is my goal setting? What is the delivery method? What is the time I'm getting to practice? What is the testing frequency? What is the feedback? And what kind of hand holding I'm getting? So this becomes like a metric that you can use as parents and as students to understand what I'm getting in terms of when I'm opting for a coaching. Is it aligned with my goal? Is it aligned with my delivery? And my delivery needs. And like if I want more discussion based class or a lecture based class. So I should understand both of these things. Both of them will have their pro and cons. Now, am I getting enough time to practice? So have I opted for a dummy school SIP program? What kind of program I'm going for? And what are they giving to me? What are their testing frequencies? Is weekly test good for me? Monthly test good for me? What kind of testing they are doing? JEE mains, JEE advanced? And what kind of feedback is sent to me as a parent? And then what kind of, if I'm going off track and as a parent and as student, and we do not understand what to do, then is there somebody in the system who's going to sit with us and tell us, and that too, who should have that expertise? So now this becomes a metric that you can use as parents to decide basically what needs to be done. Now, these are some tips based on lots of meetings that I've done in my career in 14 years. I've spent tremendous amount of time with parents, students, and understood their concerns. See, according to me, this is one of the things that should ideally happen in the classes. There should be a dialogue with the child. So if I'm teaching you, it should not be me speaking for an hour like I did in this webinar. So you are not taking a webinar where I just need to give you knowledge. I need to also understand what you're thinking. So if it is a one-on-one class, it is a one-on-one class in a specific area. If I'm getting stuck, it largely helps. It will cost you extra also, but these are the things that help. And most of the people who go to any kind of top ranks do this in a certain manner. Sometimes if you go to an offline coaching, since you are the student who is going to get the top rank, they will do it for free. So they are subsidizing it for you, but largely it was done for every student who got a top rank. Good students are usually taught in small groups, and because they can get better ranks and hence better marketing material. What I'm trying to tell you is basically a dialogue between child and the teacher is very important, especially if you're getting stuck, and this is something that is going to give you top ranks. Second is time management. Understood, there's parents whose students were able to make through, very clearly able to understand that the 66% time of the student that is going should go strictly into practice. None of the amount of classes with none of the kind of faculties can be a substitute for this. And if you're not doing this, this is not going to work out for you. Daily revision is a must. So I should have a system of making some short notes and revising all my syllabus on a daily basis. If you want to understand how, there is a video of me telling you that in form of a mentorship session on the Pragby's YouTube channel. You can go and watch it. If you want it, just drop your number. We'll send that video to you as well. And the third is basically you need to put an emotional structure into place. Okay? So we need to understand that when we teach students in small batches, there is some kind of interaction that is happening with the faculty and student. So they are able to share what they are feeling in terms of understanding, in terms of problems that they are facing, and hence it also not just provide them a good learning atmosphere, it gives them a better emotional atmosphere to interact. The teacher should be available to you, and that should mean that if you are facing some problem, you can sit with them and discuss. As a family, we should give them the environment where they have a clear understanding of their goal, of their time, and if they're not able to do, they should be able to come up to you and tell you that, because then probably you can go with some one-on-one session, help them out. Most of the times students will feel they are getting cornered in the sense that there is everything they need to do on their own, and you can see that this is generating a lot of stress, and then we have seen that what happened in quota ultimately. because there was no emotional structures, very large batches, students getting treated in an assembly line kind of a system, and this creates problem. Result is fine, you can get some better also and something less also, but in the long term, if you are able to maintain your motivation in life, 100% you are going to do better than most of the people, despite you not getting all India rank 1. So this emotional structure is very important because these are small kids. We need to teach and we need to take them in that manner only. Only then they're able to do what they want to do to an optimum level, and they are able to maintain their happiness in doing so. So I think by covering all of these points, I have covered most of the things. Now the stage is open for you. I'm removing my screen sharing. You can either type your questions or ask your questions. I'm here to help you out. And those people who just want this data to again go over it can leave your numbers in the chat box. We'll be happy to send them on your WhatsApp. So I have another class in next 7 minutes. So if you have something, please take the chance and then ask me as soon as possible.
Good evening. This is Sudeep.
Hello, hi. Please tell.
Yeah. So this is about my son. I'm trying to plan. So he was studying in ICSE till now, and he has just moved to class 11. And now with the discussions I had with number of people, I feel that CBSE is a better route for him for 11th and 12th. Now, because he will be also looking at the JEE preparations, how do you think this kind of a interaction or coaching, which is online, will help him also to cover up and meet the deadlines of CBSE, apart from the preparation for competition?
Okay. So see, I will divide this answer into two parts. One is basically what is required, and then what try we can do. Okay.
Yeah.
So see, what is required is basically now you need to clearly understand like, okay, as an end product, what is important for me. See, everything is possible. And for example, if I want to get very good marks in the level of board exams and competition both, probably NIUS would be a better option. Let us say that you don't want to do that, you want to do CBSE only. That is also a better option, but then you will want some kind of a flexi school. If that is not there, probably a dummy school. That might work for you. And if you're going for a full-time school, then do not go for any kind of mass coaching. It is not going to work out for you because time would not be there for the student. And then there will be some clashes in terms of topics going on in the school as well as in the coaching. Then in your situation, what is better is a one-on-one coaching. Based on your goal and the syllabus that is going in the school, we can have some one-on-one classes planned accordingly. So there is no clash that is happening with the school as well as in the coaching. We are doing the same topics in the school and the coaching. So the school scores are also getting basically maintained. At the same time, the competitive exam preparation is going along with it fine. Now, let us say that you want to opt for a third option, that I want to do some offline coaching. Then how can you help with the CBSE preparation? So then in terms of CBSE preparation, we can have some classes in which we can help you with the CBSE part.
Okay.
Okay.
So just to give you a background, what I am planning is I am taking him through the CBSE route using the dummy option.
Okay, great.
Where he is going to go for an offline, which is basically in my city. But okay, I would probably like to have guidance from this particular system on CBSE and maybe doubt clearing regarding JEE. Is it possible?
Yeah, it works. Actually, we have got students for all the major coaching institutes in India. We do exactly the same thing for a lot of these people.
Okay.
We have been able to do this very successfully for the last 4 years.
Okay.
Okay.
And
yes.
And the question is, which all subjects probably you think can be taken, and what will be the frequency of and the time you require for coaching? Okay.
So see, what I will do with you is basically you can drop your number to me and in the chat box. Akash is there. What we will do is we'll set up a 15-20 minutes of session just with you.
Okay.
I will understand all the constraints individually for you, and we will make a planner for you. How exactly it is going to work out for you.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Great. I've got a question from Vinuta. Says that, hello sir, I am currently moving to my 11th grade. So I have taken a combination of PCMCS. So PCM plus computer science. And I'm going to live in hostel. My school offers me an integrated JEE coaching, but I don't understand how I do manage both together. Could you please give any advice on this? So see what Vinita, can you give me a little bit of background, like where this coaching is, like in south of India, north of India, which part? Because then I have got an understanding that how this kind of coachings work. What I understand is, if it is in the south of India, let me divide my answer again into two parts. If it is in the south of India, what happens there is, in your integrated program only, their focus is going to be in PCM. They are going to just focus on the coaching part, and the testing of the coaching will happen in the school environment. So largely you do not need to focus on the school part there. You just need to focus on your coaching part. And got it. Great. They are going to focus on the coaching part. So I don't think you are going to face this problem. Just the CS and other things you will have to do accordingly. So I think it might get worked out in your case, because you are living in a hostel. What you need to take care is basically how you are able to maintain your hostel environment, because you will see that a lot of people in the hostel environment, what happens is they will get distracted, and with that they will also take you along with them. So it is very important that you maintain focus, since you're living in an hostel environment, and maintain a very good touch with your parents, because they are your support system. So they are going to help you out in that process. Okay, fine, got it. Anybody else with any question?
A small question,
Yes,
just what are the faculties probably you will be, offering for the studies? Because obviously it will be a group of maybe number of faculties who teach, and sometimes faculty change may create an issue with the student because he is maybe tuned to a particular faculty.
Yes.
This is just for the uniformity part. Yeah.
Got it. Usually, see, in our system, faculties do not change that often. And again, nobody can guarantee that no change is going to happen, because in our system, they do not just change that often, because we have certain kind of process into place. One very pro that Pragdi has is basically all our teachers work online. So that gives a tremendous amount of moat in terms of that most of the teachers, if they want to change job, they will also have to move offline. And that is something that they do not want to do. And hence we have a very good, what we can say is, the attrition at the level of faculty is very low in Pragdi because of this. And that is the reason they do not change, and we do not face this problem quite often. But in case if this happens, what we do is we give you a comfortable amount of choice options in terms of whom you can choose and whom you can't choose.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Done then. I think we have covered most of the questions now. I will highly recommend that if you want to have a one-on-one discussion with me on some specific areas, if you haven't got clarity, drop your number. We will set up a one-on-one session with me and I can further help you. Thank you. Sudeep ji, especially if you can leave your number, we will be able to set it up for you.
Yeah, I just left my number.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.